Deep within Everwood Forest, travelers whispered of ghostly children who wandered the woods at dusk, their hollow laughter echoing through the ancient trees. These were not the playful sounds of living children, but something far more sinister, echoes of the lost, the spirits of children who had vanished from a nearby village over 50 years ago, victims of an unspeakable calamity that the villagers dared not remember. One chilly autumn evening, a young couple named Sarah and Mark set up camp in the heart of the forest, oblivious to the dark history that surrounded them. As the sun sank below the horizon and the shadows grew long, they heard eerie giggling and the soft crunch of leaves underfoot, though no breeze stirred the branches above. Intrigued and unnerved, they followed the disembodied sounds, which seemed to beckon them deeper into the woods. The path led them to a clearing bathed in cold, silver moonlight. There, they saw them, spectral children, their forms flickering like flames, eyes hollow and lips curled in unsettling smiles. The children's laughter was tinged with a despair that chilled the soul, and their movements were jerky, as if they were puppets on invisible strings. One child, a girl with tangled hair and a face frozen in a wistful smile, approached them. Her eyes, black as voids, met theirs, and she spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Will you help us find our way home?" she pleaded, her words dripping with a sorrow that echoed through the trees like a distant, mournful wail. Sarah and Mark promised to help and began investigating the village's archives. They uncovered a forgotten tragedy. A landslide had buried a schoolhouse, taking the lives of the children within. The spirits, unaware of their fate, continued to wander, seeking the way back to their families. Disturbed yet compelled to help, Sarah and Mark promised to aid the lost souls. They returned to the village and delved into its history, where they unearthed a forgotten tragedy that sent shivers down their spines. A landslide had buried the village schoolhouse, entombing the children inside, their cries for help swallowed by the earth. The villagers, stricken with grief and shame, had covered up the disaster, abandoning the forest to the restless spirits. The children, unaware of their gruesome fate, continued to wander, trapped in a loop of despair, forever seeking the way back to their families that no longer awaited them. Armed with this horrific knowledge, Sarah and Mark ventured back into Everwood Forest. As they entered the clearing, the air grew frigid, and a thick mist curled around them like grasping fingers. They performed a solemn ritual, one they had discovered in a crumbling, mold-stained tome, a rite to guide the lost souls to the afterlife. But as they chanted the incantation, the atmosphere grew oppressive, and the children's laughter turned to cries of anguish. The ground beneath them began to tremble, as if the forest itself was resisting the release of its dark secrets. With the final words, the spectral children let out a collective scream, a sound that tore through the night and left an aching silence in its wake. Their forms began to dissolve, their eyes filled with terror as if realizing their doom for the first time. One by one, they faded into the mist, their laughter and cries merging into a cacophony of despair that echoed long after they were gone. The clearing was now empty, but the peace Sarah and Mark had hoped to bring felt hollow. The forest, though no longer filled with restless spirits, was not at peace. It was a place of mourning, haunted by the weight of a forgotten sin. As they left, Sarah thought she heard a faint whisper on the wind, a child's voice, barely audible, "Thank you." But she couldn't shake the feeling that something else, something darker, had been awakened that night. If you like the stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.